Hezekiah died, and Manasseh his son reigned over Judah.
What are we to do? We can't go on living like this forever, hiding in caves and every den like wild beasts.
I know, dear, it's terrible, but God must have had some purpose in letting us suffer.
God? Maybe it isn't God at all. Maybe it's because we refuse to bow down and worship the idols and gods that King Manasseh has set up.
And if we were to worship the gods King Manasseh has placed in the temple and do all the wicked and evil things he's commanded his subjects to do, we could go back to our homes and live off the fat of the land. But we would be disobeying the precepts of the one and only true God. He brought our fathers out of Egypt, established us here in Canaan.
He has forsaken us even though we've been loyal to him, and been faithful through all the persecution and cruel mockings of King Manasseh and his court.
We're going to continue to be true and loyal to the God of Abraham and Isaac, even if necessary, unto death. Also, we're going to meet...
I heard something.
So did we. No use trying to escape. You are surrounded.
See? All around you are soldiers of King Manasseh, whom you speak so lightly of and disobey. Do you know what that means? Death, that's what it means. Unless you change your mind, here and now, and promise to obey King Manasseh and worship the national gods he has set up.
We will remain true to our God.
The king has ordered us to use our own judgment when we find any of these fugitives.
The Lord God of Israel will bring judgment to Manasseh through the prophet Isaiah.
Isaiah? He was one of the first to feel the force of his majesty's determination to rid Judah of the God of his father Hezekiah. It was a beautiful execution. I was there and saw it. Well, how are we going to execute these three? Let's see now.
And Manasseh, Hezekiah's son, did much evil and profaned the name of the Lord God of Israel.
Build again the altars and high places and images to the sun, moon, and stars that my father tore down. Place them throughout Judah, even in the temple, and order the people to bow down and worship them.
So Manasseh made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err, and to do worse than the heathen.
O Ashtoreth, goddess of all the earth, hear my plea, and accept this burnt offering. May it please thee, and cause thee to bring prosperity and happiness to me and my people. All right, high priest of the goddess Ashtoreth, cast my sacrifice upon the altar of fire.
Isaiah, the prophet of God, who for more than 50 years had helped and guided the people into the paths of righteousness, was dead, executed by the evil Manasseh. But God does not forget his people. He raised up other prophets.
Manasseh was brought up in a good home, under good influence. Why has he changed?
Greed and pride lead to a man's downfall.
But Manasseh is worse than any of the kings in all the history of Judah and Israel. He's even worse than the kings of heathen nations. Why?
Who can know but he himself and God?
Since Isaiah is dead, it becomes our duty to warn Manasseh of the dangers ahead if he continues in his evil ways.
And lose our lives?
And lose our lives, if it be God's will and it serves his purpose. It is a dangerous mission upon which you have agreed to go.
Nonetheless, I shall go, for above all, I wish to serve the Lord God my Maker, and thee, thou prophets of God.
Go to the king, then, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of heaven, Because thou, O king, hast done such abomination, and hast done wickedly above all before thee, and hast made Judah also to sin with thy idols. Therefore thus saith the Lord God of Israel,
Behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle, because thou, O king, hast done that which is evil in my sight. I shall deliver Jerusalem into the hands of the enemies, and the people shall become a prey and a spoil to the nations round about.
Who sent you to me with this message of doom?
The prophet of God.
His name? You refuse to name this so-called prophet? Captain, take this man from my presence and have him stoned to death.
Faithfully, the prophets continued their warnings and their exhortations. Fearlessly, they spoke directly to King Manasseh and to his people. But the messages were scorned. Backsliding Judah would not heed.
Your Majesty, the Assyrian soldiers have entered Jerusalem. They make their way hither to take thee captive. Flee, I pray thee, before it's too late.
Flee? Where to? And how?
Out the back way, Your Majesty. Hide among the thorns and thistles in the valley of Kidron. But hurry, hurry!
Assyrian soldiers?
So there you are. I found him, Captain, over here.
So it is, King Manasseh himself, King of Judah.
I have an arrow, Captain. I think it would fit exactly the heart of this evil man who calls himself King of Judah.
No, he's too great a prize. He should go back with us to our king alive. Bind him in chains and make him walk all the way to Babylon.
The King of Judah taken captive alive?
Yes, Your Majesty. He awaits in the outer chamber, in chains.
Cast him in prison. We'll see if the strange gods he brought to Judah are able to save him.
O God of my fathers, there is no good within me. Yet for the sake of thy people, save me from this dungeon and take me again to Jerusalem. And I shall break down the images and idols I have made, and cause the people to again worship thee, the one and only true God. I humble myself before thee, O Lord, and acknowledge my sins and my wickedness.
God heard the supplication of this wicked king and forgave him and brought him again to the throne of Jerusalem. And King Manasseh kept his word, for he brake to pieces the idols and images and high places he had built. And then Manasseh knew that the Lord, he is God.